do that meditation, public meditation.
Okay.
Do you need a music? If there's kids, public meditation, then you'll sit down.
Okay. The Meaning of Christmas to a Unitarian Universalist by Lily Scoble. Why Christmas? Especially to one who doubts? How's that? Super.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing, liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world. Or as we say in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Welcome to one and all. I want to begin by welcoming you, as I always do, by embracing all that you bring with you this morning, all of your uniqueness, all of your unique beliefs, your background, your lifestyle, your experiences, your differences, all that helps make you who you are is welcome here this morning. This is so for those who hear me say this each Sunday, as well as those who might be joining us for the first time today. We're so glad to have all of you. Also, welcome to those of you who are watching us from around the country. I know that there are some viewers who will likely never be able to join us in person here, even when the COVID pandemic ends, because you live so far away, but we're glad to know that you've become a regular part of our services. So welcome to one and all. Welcome to everybody who is in the room with us today. We have our lay leader, Barbara Nelson, is back with us. Thank you so much. Great to have you. And Todd Milne, who got us started with his wonderful music, who's back from quarantine. No worse the wear, Todd. Great to have you. And Darrell Vanderlinden is working our slideshow today. Thank you, Darrell, so great to have you with us as well. And Deb Jackman over here with her singer's mask on. She looks kind of like she's got a duck bill, but it's just fine. So you look great. Great to have you. Michelina Tyree is over here on the piano. She's going to be playing for us today and accompanying our special musical guest, Gordon Diddens, who is going to do a special rendition of Imagine later on today. So Gordon, thank you for being here too. And you can see my head like going from here to here to here to here, because we're all social distancing if you can't see everyone in the entire room. But great to see all of you. So welcome to one and all. Let's see, I do have a couple of announcements I want to remind you of. One is coming right up tomorrow, Monday, December 21st at 7 p.m. We're going to have a virtual solstice service, thanks to Deb Jackman, who's been working hard to find a novel way to continue this tradition even at this odd time. And you can find the instructions for joining that in an email that you should have received just 2 days ago on the 18th, including a link, and hopefully that'll go out fresh again tomorrow. If you are not on our email list and you're interested in participating, please give our office a call tomorrow and give them your email address and ask for the link and the instructions, which are, some nice instructions about having your own candles present and that sort of thing to participate. So that will be tomorrow night, again, the 21st at 7 p.m. We are not going to be having our usual Cosmic Advent service on Christmas Eve this year, because I don't think it lends itself well to a Zoom service. But we are going to have a Christmas Eve virtual gathering, during which we'll get to hear some special music and some readings and candle lighting, and then I'm going to give my visual rendition of a sequel that I wrote a few years ago to The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. So gather the whole family round, and friends, or if you're home alone, you don't have to be completely by yourself. That'll be, again, this week on the Christmas Eve, the 24th, beginning at 6 p.m. We'll get the link out to you again in the weekly email, so watch for that. And again, if you don't get our emails and want to be on the list, just call the office and let them know. And if you'd like just to get that special link, by all means, please do. Okay, and social hour will immediately be following this service, an online social hour. And Deb Jackman will be helping to facilitate that, so you can also find the link to that in the weekly email that went out earlier. Okay, good. So with that said, let's take a few moments, as always, to greet one another in whatever way you've come become accustomed to doing that during the pandemic by email, by phone call, by a friendly text or two, but do take a few moments to greet one another. Thank you so much, and as always, I ask you to continue to stay in touch with each other during the days ahead. I know it's helpful and important to all of us. We're going to move forward now by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith, the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world, and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
The opening reflection today is The Meaning of Christmas to a Unitarian Universalist by Lenny Scoville. Why Christmas, especially to one who doubts? Are you not being hypocritical? Unitarian Universalists, with their penchant for secular humanism, are fond of arguing the validity of Christmas. Is it a Christian holiday, a pagan holiday, a secular holiday? Even outside my UU circles, there is much apathy about Christmas. It's just another day, I've heard quoted by many. I know all this, and I don't care. I love Christmas, always have and always will. It fills me with nostalgia and generosity and goodwill. As far as the meaning of Christmas is concerned, as a Unitarian Universalist, I believe it is part of our spiritual maturation to search for and assign meaning to all the days of our lives. In this, Christmas is the high watermark of the year, a time when the world slows and considers our relationships with each other. Isn't that in and of itself enough to celebrate? Worthy of decorations and lights and music? The gifts we give each other at this time of year are more than just demonstrations of our generosity. They are symbols of the gifts we are capable of giving each other every day of our lives. Gifts of love, compassion, industry, advocacy, the gifts of common humanity. These were the values of Jesus, the true Christian values. And if we as Unitarian Universalists need to reconcile the language of Jesus as the Savior in celebrating Christmas, can we not acknowledge that through his ministry of compassion, he was in fact our Savior by showing us the way to save ourselves?
Thank you, Barbara. We're now going to kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our hearts and minds. And I did have a request this week. We're kindling a candle for Penny Landa, who is in the hospital recovering from some complications after having hip surgery. I had a communication from Carlos yesterday letting me know that she is expected to be able to come home in a couple of days, but he asked that we kindle a candle of care on behalf of Penny, and we do so on behalf of Penny and Carlos both. Let's take a moment of silence now, as usual, on behalf of those who you might be thinking of. You're welcome to kindle a candle of your own at home or observe the candles that Barbara is lighting here in our sanctuary. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. We do have a special collection this month, and as we've been doing during this time of pandemic, is just keeping the special collection going all month. And this month it is for the Minister's Discretionary Fund, which is a fund that this congregation has so generously established that enables me to give some response to those who come to the congregation who have special financial needs due to difficult circumstances. And I extend your generosity in this way to members of our community who could use a little help, as well as folks from the larger community from time to time as well. So again, I thank you so much for your compassion and your generosity in keeping this fund going. It's been very important to a lot of people. I know that they would want me to extend that gratitude to you as well at this time. As always, you can send a check to the church and just put today's date on the memo line so we know that it was for the discretionary fund, or is for the discretionary fund. Or you can go online and go to the donations and just go to the special collections tab and also put the date there. So again, I appreciate it so much in advance. Thank you for your kindness and your generosity. And now it is time for our children's story, or a story for all ages if you prefer. So I, as usual, brought a special friend to help me out with that. Let's see who it is. Give me just a moment. Oh my goodness, look who in the world have we have here. Ho, 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 yuck. I gotta wait just a minute here. Are you who I think you are? Yep, it's me, Santa Claus. Well, that's not exactly what I was going to say. Well, I've got a tall red hat, don't I? Well, you do. And I've got a long white beard, don't I? Well, yes, it would appear so. And I say, ho, 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 you huck, don't I? Well, yes, but no doubts about it. I'm Santa Claus. Well, Santa, what big eyes you have. The better to see if you've been naughty or nice. Well, Santa, what long ears you have. The better to hear what you want for Christmas. Well, Santa, what a long nose you have. Well, the better to To what? Well, I guess you got me. Yeah, you're not really Santa Claus, are you? Nope, but I had you going there for a minute, didn't I? For a second. Let's find out exactly who you are here. Oh, my goodness. Is this who I think it is? Ah, Goofy. I thought it was you. Howdy, everyone. I just came by to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and whatever other holiday you celebrate. Well, that's very nice of you to think of us, Goofy, and we're really glad that you came. Well, I miss seeing everyone and wish they were all here in person. Yeah, me too. But you know what? Things are looking better, and there's some new medicines out there that are going to help keep us from getting sick, so we'll be able to start seeing each other again in the near future. In time for the holidays? Well, I'm afraid we're not going to be able to do that soon. We're going to have to remain patient just a while longer, but things are going to start looking better probably by this spring, and we'll be able to see each other again next year for the holidays, I'm sure. Well, I can hardly wait. Well, I know, but in the meantime, what would you like the real Santa Claus to bring you this year? Well, the same thing I ask for every year. What's that? Peace on earth and goodwill towards all. Well, that's pretty nice. And it would be a very nice gift for all of us. Yep. And I'm hoping this year I'll get it. Well, the thing is, Goofy, Santa Claus can give us lots of nice gifts, but he can't give us peace and goodwill. Well, why not? Well, because peace on earth and goodwill are only gifts that we can give. They are? Sure. If we want peace on earth and goodwill, we have to work hard to make it happen. They don't come wrapped up in nice little packages. You mean it's not up to Santa Claus? It's up to me? Yeah, it's up to all of us. And the more peace and goodwill that you give to others, the more of it you're going to get in return. And to think I was going to give you another Star Trek coffee mug for Christmas. Well, you can still do that. That'd be okay too. Instead, I'm going to give you the same thing I'm giving everyone else. Well, I think I know what it is you're going to say, so why don't you do me a favor and look right into the camera over there and say it to everyone. Peace on earth and goodwill to all. Thank you, Goofy, and I hope your days are merry and bright.
The meditation and the benediction this morning comes from the book Breaking and Blessings by UU minister Sean Parker Dennison. Letter from our better angels. Dear one, we have received your letter, and we hate to tell you, well, not hate so much, but are a bit afraid to say we cannot grant you your requests as stated, but can only remind you of familiar things. First, faith. Faith in yourself and trust in others. We know it can be terrifying to be vulnerable, but only when you share your softest side will we be able to break through. Next, hope. Hope is not an empty fairy tale. It is the true story of all the times human beings, like you, have found a way to create the future, even though you didn't know how. And of course, love. Love that demands you to cherish all people, not just yourself, in safety. Love that is not satisfied until every argument ends abruptly when one child says, "Stop." There is so much to learn and relearn. The world teaches you to be hard, to negotiate, to defend, to avoid giving too much, and to the wrong people. You know what? There are no wrong people. You also are not wrong, and when you encounter the poor, the broken, the unhoused, and the unwelcome, you are looking at us, if you pay attention, at us calling you to answer your own prayers. If you want to change the world, first be sure you are changing yourself. Be kind, Be tender, be at peace, be all the things you wish for. Be your own better self. It isn't without cost, but it will be free.
My reading today is from the back of our gray hymnal. It's entitled Peace, adapted from the pupils of the Lincoln School. Peace. Peace means the beginning of a new world. It means that nations are friends. It means joy to the world. Peace is quiet and calm. It is rest. It is silence after a storm. It is love and friendship. It is the world's dream of dreams. Peace brings comfort and happiness. It brings bread to the hungry. It brings prosperity to the nations. It means the strong respect the weak, the great respect the small, the many respect the few. It is like spring after winter. It brings sunshine into the world. It is like sweet music after harsh sounds.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion, too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us. world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Thank you, Gordon. Very powerful rendition of that extraordinary song. And the title of my sermon today is Imagine, subtitled John Lennon's Wish for Peace on Earth and Goodwill Toward All. In 2001, 50,000 readers polled by The Observer said that they consider John Lennon's Imagine the best song of all time. It hasn't ranked quite as high on other polls, but has done well enough to rightly be considered one of the greatest songs ever, and was without argument the first and best-selling song of Lennon's solo career, tragically brief as it was. Whether you consider it the greatest song of all or even Lennon's greatest song of all, we'd all have to agree the 1971 hit single is a worthy contender for that title. Given it was released in the month of October and says nothing about the Nativity or St. Nicholas, you might be surprised to hear that it is also my favorite Christmas song. I say this, odd as it may sound, because it was released during the Vietnam War, and many of the best Christmas songs are really songs about soldiers longing to be home for the holidays or our shared longings for world peace. I'll Be Home for Christmas was written in 1943 during World War II, expresses such yearnings, if only in my dreams, the homesick soldier wishes. Blue Christmas didn't become a holiday classic until Elvis sang it in 1957, but it was written in 1948 at the end of the war and was remembered as such when Vince Gill re-recorded it anew 50 years later in 1998, accompanied by a music video in which he played an American soldier trapped in Belgium on Christmas Eve, 1944, having a blue Christmas without his loved ones. The concluding words of the John Jarvis song, The Greatest Gift of All, offer a silent prayer for creatures great and small. Peace on earth, goodwill to men is the greatest gift of all. Echoing more classic songs like It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, Peace on earth, goodwill to all. And hark the herald angels sing, Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. And John Lennon's other wartime single, Happy Christmas, also released in 1971, that is alternatively titled, War is Over. Even the song that you're going to get to hear Kelly LaGruda and Peggy Eckloff performed during our Christmas Eve service later this week, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas was originally written for Judy Garland's 1944 film, Meet Me in St. Louis. At Garland's insistence, the songwriters reluctantly changed its original lyrics to make it more upbeat for the film. So it's wartime lament. It may be your last. Next year we may all be living in the past. Was changed to let your heart be light. Next year all your troubles will be out of sight. When it was recorded by Frank Sinatra in 1957, he had the line, until then, we'll have to muddle through somehow, changed to hang a shining star above the highest bough. But even with these changes, Garland's version was a very popular Christmas song among the troops serving during World War II. Peggy and Kelly will sing the original version on the 24th, so be sure and pay close attention to the words. It is natural that we should long more for world peace during times of war, as well as during the holiday when we long to be with those that we love. Many of us are feeling similar this holiday season because the pandemic is keeping us apart. The feeling also has something to do with this particular time of year, which since ancient times has caused us to both long for and celebrate the return of brighter, warmer days. So this is Christmas. And what have you done? Another year over and a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas. I hope you have fun, the near and the dear one, the old and the young. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. And so this is Christmas. For weak and for strong, for rich and the poor ones, the world is so wrong. And so happy Christmas for black and for white, for yellow and red one. Let's stop all the fight. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one, without any fear. These are profoundly moving sentiments from John Lennon's War is Over. Still, I think that Imagine is his best holiday song because it asks us to envision a world without all the causes of war to begin with. No countries, no possessions, no greed or hunger, no religion, nothing to kill or die for, all people living life in peace. That's the world I want. It's the world we all want. It's the world that I want to help create. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one, I know that. But is that all that it is? Is it just a dream? A figment of Lennon's own imagination? Was he high? Was he hallucinating? Possibly. Was he transcendentally meditating when he wrote Imagine? Might we just as well believe in Santa Claus as to really think that war will someday end and world peace can be achieved? Maybe. But Lennon's dream of a better world was taken seriously enough by some to have made him some pretty powerful enemies. Mark Chapman, the gunman who killed him shortly before Christmas 1980, may have been Lennon's most lethal adversary, but he was far from his most powerful one. For Lennon did more than just imagine world peace. He used his tremendous popularity to help make it a reality. During Vietnam, for instance, he initiated a national billboard campaign calling for the war's end. He also participated in and financed peace rallies and concerts protesting the war. In 1969, he said, "What would Christ have done if he had advertisements, TV, records, films, and newspapers. The miracle today is communications, so let's use it. Lennon, who once bragged the Beatles were more popular than Jesus, used his popularity, fame, and his ability to reach millions through the media to help make the world more peaceful, at least take steps towards seeking the peaceful world that he imagined could be a reality. In so doing, however, he incurred the wrath, again, of his most powerful adversary ever, the United States President, Richard Nixon. Prior to the presidential election in 1972, less than a year after the release of Imagine, Lennon planned a national concert tour to protest the Vietnam War, which meant he would also protest the re-election of its commander-in-chief. This first came to the attention of the White House through a memo from the Senate Internal Security Subcommittee addressed to Bill Timmons, assistant to the president, and copied to Attorney General John Mitchell. Dear Bill, find attached a memorandum to me from the staff of the Internal Security Subcommittee of the Judiciary Committee. I am a member of the subcommittee as well as the full Judiciary Committee. This appears to me to be an important matter, and I think it would be well for it to be considered at the highest level. As I can see, many headaches might be avoided if appropriate action is taken in time. With kindest regards and best wishes, very truly, Strom Thurmond. Dun, 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 dun. The memo attached to Thurmond's letter claimed Lennon was connected with radical New Left leaders Renee Davis, Jerry Rubin, Leslie Bacon, Stud Albert, Jay Craven, and others who have recently gone to the New York City areas. This group has been strong advocates of the program to dump Nixon. They have devised a plan to hold rock concerts in various primary election states for the following purposes: to obtain access to college campuses, to stimulate 18-year-old registration, to press for legislation legalizing marijuana, to finance their activities, and to recruit persons to come from San Diego during the Republican National Convention in August 1972. These individuals are the same persons who were instrumental in disrupting the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in 1968. The memo then concludes with the following suggestion. The source felt that if Lennon's visa terminated, it would be a strategy countermeasure. The source also noted the caution which must be taken with regard to the possible alienation of the so-called 18-year-old vote if Lennon is expelled from this country. A short time later, on March 6, 1972, the following reply was sent to Strom Thurmond. Dear Strom, in connection with your previous inquiry concerning the former member of the Beatles, John Lennon, I thought you would be interested in learning that the Immigration and Naturalization Service has served notice on him that he is to leave this country no later than March 15. You may be assured the information you previously furnished has been appropriately noted. With warm regards, sincerely, William E. Timmons, Assistant to the President. Lennon fought his deportation and won, but the government did not end its battle against him. The Nixon administration went on to illegally use the CIA and FBI to deal with Lennon in a covert Nixon re-election effort. Of course, none of this disturbing information became public until years later, during the Clinton administration, after the ACLU won a legal battle on behalf of historian John Wiener, who had requested a look at the Lennon files under the Freedom of Information Act back in 1981, shortly after the Singer activist's assassination. His initial request was denied under the claim that releasing the material would threaten our national security. So dangerous was John Lennon. After a long court battle, Wiener finally won the right to view and subsequently make public much of the Lennon file, except for 10 documents, and the file said to have been destroyed during the FBI's Miami, in the FBI's Miami office. And one of the arguments in favor of Wiener was the misuse of the CIA to investigate an individual in the United States, which is illegal according to the National Security Act of 1947, prohibiting the agency from conducting investigations inside the continental limits of the United States. The U.S. Supreme Court agreed that the CIA had abused its powers and ordered the files released. One of the documents in the Lennon file, half of which is blacked out, has the anachronistic heading Chaos. This turned out to be part of the CIA's illegal operation to conduct surveillance of domestic political dissidents. Operation Chaos was exposed in 1976 by the House Subcommittee on Government Information and Individual Rights. The CIA director at the time, George Bush Sr., testified before Congress that the operation in practice resulted in some improper accumulation of material on legitimate domestic activities, like holding concerts. When the subcommittee asked to view the list of those investigated by Chaos, Bush suggested that all the information improperly collected be destroyed instead, which would have been illegal under the Freedom of Information Act. Operation Chaos was secretly housed in the basement of the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, to keep its illegal activity out of sight from other CIA employees. Its office was surrounded in specially shielded vaults to prevent electronic eavesdropping under Nixon. Chaos was expanded to 60 agents who became, according to Professor Wiener, the president's primary source of intelligence about anti-war leadership. How do these things escape the history books? Keep in mind, however, the worst crime against Lennon was not that the federal agencies illegally gathered information about him, but that they were also used to conspire against him. After the first attempt to have him deported failed, the feds realized they would have to catch him in a crime before trying again. On July 27, 1972, the acting director of the FBI sent a memo to all law enforcement agencies in Miami, where Lennon was expected to travel during the Miami Republican Convention, stating, "Miami should note that Lennon is reportedly a heavy user of narcotics, known as downers. This information should be emphasized to local law enforcement agencies with regards to the subject being arrested, if at all possible, on possession of narcotics charge. INS has stressed to Bureau that if Lennon were to be arrested in U.S. for possession of narcotics, he would become more likely to be immediately deportable." You can see from this proof of what many of us have known all along, that the drug war, America's longest, most expensive, and deadliest war in history, is politically motivated to disenfranchise voters, particularly young voters and minority voters. It is also why I continue to call it the Nixon re-election campaign. Fortunately, even without the destroyed Miami files, the ACLU had enough evidence to prove the FBI's abuse of authority, and in 1976, Senator Frank Church, chairman of the Senate Select Subcommittee on Intelligence and father of renowned Unitarian Universalist minister F. Forrester Church, said the FBI demonstrated a pattern of reckless disregard and activities that threatened our Constitution. Thus, unable to make headway on removing agitator Lennon from this country, the committee to re-elect the president decided to conspire against the young dissidents that he was agitating. G. Gordon Liddy, and E. Howard Hunt suggested they spend $1 million to mug demonstrators at the Republican National Convention and abduct their leaders to Mexico. Attorney General Mitchell balked at the illegal and costly solution, only to stupidly agree to Liddy's Plan B, breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters, plant bugs, and photograph documents, which of course led to Watergate and Nixon's downfall. During the Watergate hearings, the Lennon files were often used as the only evidence necessary to prove the disgraced president's abuse of power. And all of this occurred, this little-known piece of modern U.S. history, because some of the most powerful people on earth were terrified of a guy with a little imagination. John Lennon was assassinated on his doorstep just a few years later, less than a year into Ronald Reagan's presidency. But Imagine is still considered one of the greatest songs ever and still makes us pause bleary-eyed to envision a world without countries or possessions or religions or greed or anything else worth fighting over. Just how dangerous could this dreamer have been? Dangerous enough, some thought, if too many of us were to consider what he imagined achievable. For a world with no countries means a world without borders or walls or divisions. It means that no immigrants or foreigners and no dominant nations or undeveloped nations. In a world without countries, everyone is free to move about as they please, as global citizens, part of a worldwide human community with equal rights for all. And I think it's not only possible, but it is inevitable and has already begun, which is why so many isolationist populists, like Donald Trump, are coming into short-term power as people cope with the fear of losing the national identities and the uncertainty of change that we sense is already upon us. Chief Joseph said, "The earth is the mother of all people, and all people should have equal rights upon it." Imagine that. Until recently, such thoughts have been the dreams of idealists, devoid of practical impact on the hard realities of a world of nation-states, writes philosopher Peter Singer. But now, we are beginning to live in a global community. Historian Yuval Harari says similarly, from such a vantage point, it becomes crystal clear that history is moving relentlessly toward unity. Today, he says, almost all humans share the same geopolitical system, the same economic system, the same legal system, and the same scientific system, and we can add the same environment, the same climate, and the same viruses. Whether it frightens us or not, we have been exponentially moving toward global civilization throughout human history, and its arrival is now upon us. The sooner we acknowledge it and begin erecting systems benefiting humanity rather than nationality, the better off the world is going to be. As for no possessions, I'd settle for a world in which everyone has enough not only to survive, but to thrive. A world where every individual flourishes, even as humanity as a whole achieves its greatest potential by establishing the kind of world peace it has long dreamt of. Not only is this possible, it is possible right now, for there is already plenty enough to go around for everyone, were it not for our old habits of greed leading a few to having way too much, and too many to having far too little. And I'm not advocating for radical changes, nor for socialism, a system that I personally am dubious of. It is more than possible for us to have a system of fair trade in which everyone also fairly and responsibly contributes to the well-being and security of our entire nation. I don't believe that we will ever eliminate religion, inasmuch as we can never remove the passions of the human heart, those things which drive us to achieve such dreams, purposes, and potential. I agree with Bertrand Russell's definition of religion as that which we devote our lives to. Everyone must be devoted to something and will in this sense be religious, he said. The problem isn't religion, but religious intolerance. If such tolerance, I should say, cannot be commanded of the human heart, then human society must maintain global laws to protect us all from intolerant behavior. And I'd be satisfied with that. So as this year winds down, and we consider all we've done, left undone, and what remains to be done, perhaps we should start the new year by taking the kind of world John Lennon imagined at least as seriously as Richard Nixon did. Imagine a world without war, without borders, walls, or prisons. Imagine a world without poverty or homelessness or any kind of debilitating inequalities. Imagine a world without religious and ideological intolerance. Imagine a world without Fox News and MSNBC or any other kind of senseless reasons for conflict and going to war. Some may say that Lennon was a dreamer, but again, I know he's not the only one. I hope today you'll join us and the world will live as one. Happy Christmas.
Well, I'm going to try out this mask today and see how I can sing with it. We're singing a hymn today that is a Christmas one, but it's that wider definition of Christmas that Barbara spoke of. And so if you have your home hymnal, you can turn to 248. Oh, we believe in Christmas. Oh, we believe in Christmas, and we keep Christmas Day, and we will honor Christmas nations and makes the many one.
A benediction. At this moment of ending, may there be a good word, a blessing to help us remember what we have so often forgotten. May the message we need be gently spoken and held in the spaces of ourselves, the fibers that hold all we need to maintain our gentleness, our courage, and our hope. At this moment of ending, may the goodness we wish for ourselves and each other, this community, ecosystem, planets, and Stardust galaxy become such a part of us that we cannot tell where the blessings end and we begin. Amen. Blessed be, salam alaikum, and shalom.